Okay, welcome everyone to May 31st General Meeting. Just going to be a quick update over a few things we've done this week um, and how it's going to look like for the next 3 weeks. So first, I guess, the next 3 weeks is going to be us trying to, Adrian just joined eating a tortilla. Next 3 weeks is going to be us planning competition and just ensuring that everyone's going to be ready to go for those who are going and those who aren't, just to have all the updates necessary to know where we are and how everything else goes. If you for some reason don't know, we did have our FRR last Friday. It went pretty well. We communicated with the alumni very well. We got a lot of feedback and a lot of things that that they mentioned that we should really look into. Besides that, I don't really have anything else I wanted to share. I don't know about I guess I can go for structures since they are working on it now. They're actually working on the MLA right now. Brandon 3D printed a few parts to keep the fence held in place. What? Yeah, I'll do it. Good idea. Here you go. You can see right there. So you see those white sections there? Those are 3D printed parts to hold the fence into place. And then you can see there, Brandon, Gustavo, and Ali just got here. And obviously Haley. And then you can show him, can you grab the little ports? Yeah, so those will cut too, so we can go into the MLA. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be working on for a bit. You wanna explain it? They can't hear you, hold up. No, they can't hear you. Hold up. Okay. Talk, Haley.
Okay, so the plan for this is we have these two supports to keep the fins in place, and we want to do the reinforced resin with the chopped fibers of fiberglass to add like a fillet to these edges, which is also kind of what Randy was mentioning in the FRR, was how we should have a fillet on them, which we were planning on doing anyways, which I guess is good that he kind of already approves of what we're doing. And then we're doing a tip-to-tip carbon fiber, so all across like the face of the fins with the sheets you already have in the lab. But we're gonna wait for the fillet to fully dry on each of the fins first, so we can like make sure it's a really solid bond. Because those of you who have done your L1s have probably noticed that the epoxy shifts a little bit on the fins, and we definitely don't want that happening with these. So that's it. I didn't really mention the meeting yet, though.
All right. All right. Does anyone else want to go for the updates?
What I'm printing is a point thing. I can flip it up. Obviously, these go below.
Anyone wants to go first?
I will go. So for analysis, the FRR was relatively successful. I think we learned a lot about our validation techniques, what we can improve on, what we did well. I think especially relating in our work with structures, we learned a lot with regards to fasteners and the nut plates that they advised us to use. So right now I'm just going through kind of the notes and concerns that were raised during the FRR and trying to see which ones are more feasible for us to actually implement versus ones that we can just kind of note down for future years in documentation. I am a little worried about the fin flutter and divergence calculations because of the points that Andrew brought up. At this point, I think we're just going to have to go with what we have, because I know that was an issue, or that is an issue that we've been facing all year, of how to model composite materials and their responses to dynamic loads. So I really don't know at this point, but I'll do more research and try and do my best to, I guess, learn as much as possible before competition about that.
Yeah, I think the best we can do now is just to learn, like you just said, about it and make sure we have an answer to when they ask those questions. But as far as like changing stuff, obviously it's too late. Thank you, Robbie. Next up, who wants to go? If you have any updates. If you don't have any updates, you can just say you have no updates.
I have no major updates for recovery, but I think overall the FRR went decent for recovery. I don't think we got to asking like questions about recovery. So I'm hoping maybe the alumni or Randy emails us some questions. But other than that, everything's going decent for recovery.
In terms
Thank you,
of
Chloe.
avionics, sorry, can y'all hear me okay? Okay, cool. In terms of avionics, we didn't get a lot of feedback from the FRR. So I plan on reaching out to a couple of the alumni that I know have avionics experience to see if they'll roast us a little and get some feedback. I do have some updates, which is because I think y'all were asking for some for the subcommittee meeting. So some of the updates for avionics, we installed Raspbian OS on the 32 gigabyte card, as we mentioned in FRR. We also managed to power up the Raspberry Pi in the display. We installed Altus OS on it. So we can read all data from COTS, the flight computers, both from the USB and through Bluetooth. We also installed the Arduino IDE to read ground station data. And then we coded the flight computer. What we still need to do, we still need to create the PCBs or install the SRAD components. We also need to configure the SRAD avionics tray. And then we need to finish connecting the XBs and make sure that they can read all of the SRAD flight sensor data. And then lastly, we need to install the OLED instead of a separate LCD to read the SRAD ground station data. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. About avionics not getting any questions. I realize that sometimes the alumni focus on one thing and sometimes it's very random. I remember when I was in the propulsion, they didn't ask a single propulsion question at all, and I just felt really bad. I was like, okay, but it probably means he did a good job. But if we can get more, like I get feedback and help from them, that would be great. Thank you, Joe.
I can go next. Payload happened to be one of the random things that the alumni focused on. The FRR was interesting, but we pulled through. I think there was a lot more questions just because Payload didn't have a PDR. So I'm gonna go over all the feedback and questions and then the FRR slides with Payload and have a meeting and discuss everything that needs to be done. It's mostly just converting all the prints to ABS or incorporating ABS. Other than that, we're pretty much done. Hopefully we'll have the assembly down in an efficient way. And then hopefully we'll be just as prepared at competition for questions.
Thank you, Izzy. Also, yeah, you did a great job answering all those questions. There was like 50 of them. You did amazing. And any other updates? No.
I posted some cool pictures in the propulsion chat. Been working on solid fuel. But other than that, we haven't really been doing anything because everyone in propulsion is basically like gone. So it's just me right now. But yeah.
All right. Well, if there's no more updates, I think next week is gonna be more like a regular meeting rather than just like us just talking. So maybe we'll definitely have more updates with the MLA. So we'll probably set up like a slides just for like sub-team updates and stuff like that. If you have done any work. And yeah, I mean, competition's in like 3 weeks. I hope everyone's excited. Um, so we'll be creating all the documents to see who's going to be driving, who's going to be in whose car. And then we're going to be heading out. I hope everyone's excited. All right. Well, if that's all, I'm going to end the meeting here. Unless anyone has any last comments or questions you want to ask. No.
You have a
All
good
right.
day.
Thank you, Adrian. All right. Y'all have a very, very good week. I'll be seeing you all on Discord. Bye.